welcome to my channel. This is a channel all about cross stitch, and you might hear some extra noises. I'm going to be doing a bonus video this time. This is a mid-year WIP parade. I don't normally do a mid-year WIP parade, but I thought, what the heck, let's see where we're at. And I will probably not be doing an update, so you will see the projects that I've worked on in the last 2 weeks, and hopefully this won't be longer than my usual updates, which are usually an hour, so you know, let's get into it. I have 5 projects left over from 2017, and these are the Christmas Eve Couriers. I decided to start them as a Maynia start. For those who are not familiar, Maynia was a Facebook group, and the premise of the group was to start as many projects as you're comfortable with. Originally it was in 2015, it was 15 new starts in May for Maynia 2015. People have evolved it to mean what they want it to mean, which is totally fine. For me, I started 17 new starts in 2017, which is when I was introduced to Maynia. I have a few left over from Maynia's past. So, excuse my reach because things are all over the place. There and there and there. So, by the way, welcome to anybody who's new. Thank you for returning if you are returning. I hope you like what you see and stick around and subscribe and do all this stuff. So, the Maynia reindeer. These are Christmas Eve Couriers by Nora Corbett, and if I have the cover I will show it to you, but I don't think I have the cover for this one because it's supposed to be worked on right now, but it's not, so it's still in the Q-snap. And this one is at the point of adding the beads, but I just haven't finished it. Donder. And I'm going to try to do a where it was in the last WIP parade side by side for you. So this is Donder. And these are all being stitched on 32 count Nocturne Belfast linen by Picture This Plus. Khaleesi's in here and she's not happy because she hears somebody eating in another room. This one is Vixen. And it is also at the point of adding beads. And some of these I may have trouble sourcing beads because they're Magnificas. And yeah, that's the whole thing. This one is Comet, so that's what it should look like when it's finished. And here's where it's at. Probably no difference between January and now. And Dasher just needs the beads. Lots of beads. Lots of crystals, like very clear or icy beads. So again, probably no difference between January and this. Okay, she's in the other room. She's going to discover that there's no food left, and she'll want back in here. So this one is Cupid. And this is still in the WIP pile because I did not do the bird underneath, and I am torn about whether or not I will do that or add a different element. It just seems out of place with the rest. And so here is where that one is at. Again, this one, no change since January, but still a WIP. And those are all of the Christmas Eve Couriers. One thing I do want to mention about the Couriers is that all of the charts use the same symbols. So I just made a floss card with the floss number and the symbols. Now, the Sleigh has different symbols, so I put its color key on the other side. But it uses the same colors. And here's what the sleigh will look like when it's finished. Also started May 2017. And also probably no progress since the last video. Or not, since the WIP Parade. So I had one big piece of Nocturne Belfast linen, and I chopped it up to fit all the pieces. She's at the door. Come on. Now they're both in here. Okay. This is Khaleesi. She's hungry. We changed her food. She doesn't like it. And this is Gidget. Come on. There we go. There. She's a beauty, isn't she? Yes. She's a very healthy dog. Lots of energy, loves to play with the B-A-L-L. She'd rather be outside. Yeah. Okay. We'll see how well this goes. So, the next, okay, yeah, I was showing you the sleigh. No, you gotta stop that. No. 32 count Nocturne Belfast linen, and the beads are a little bit tight on the Couriers, but not horrible, horrible. And I am stitching all of the, with all the called for threads, including the Krynic braid, which is not that much of a problem. Because it's not the really, really big braid. It's the more appropriate size braid. If you will remember, I stitched Crystal Christmas and it called for the, I believe it's number 4 braid. No. Oh, maybe it's number 16 braid, number 8 braid. I don't know. This is number 4 braid and it works fine. Yeah, very fine metallic number 4. And I don't even use short lengths. I mean, maybe it's shorter than most people would use, but so that's the sleigh. And all of the rest of the reindeer series I have finished, but that doesn't mean that they're framed. I'm going to be zipping this up. This next one is actually a WIP that I still have in the Q-snap. I'm not going to take it out of the Q-snap because it's in a really good place, and yeah, I still want to work on it, and as a matter of fact I plan on having it as a focus type project for July so that I get the winter dress finished on Dressmaker's Daughter. This was started in, I believe it was May of 2018. And take the chart off. And here's where we're at. And this will be the January, the previous WIP Parade's picture. Hopefully I can get side by side, but there's where I am. So recently I finished this and brought this down more. This was empty, so I filled that in. But this is the winter form for the dress. This is the winter dress on the form. This one here, and it's my last dress to do, and then they'll all be needing all the beads. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of beads. I do have some of them, but not all of them. That's just some of them. So I will have to figure out which ones I need and place an order and try to find substitutes for the Magnificas. Zipper. Okay. Now, this next one, don't want to lose that. my next oldest project. Also worked on, I believe, since my last video, and I think I got lots of good progress on this. And again, I'm not taking it out of Q-Snap because it's in a good place to continue working. I'm going to kick you out of here. We'll see how long that lasts. It won't be long, trust me. So this is Royal Tudor Mandala. January picture over here. Taking the dog outside. Okay, so I had them outside. Maybe that was the problem. We'll see. So, Royal Tudor Mandala. It'll look like this when it's finished. And here's where we're at. So, this is stitched on 32 count white Opalescent Lugana. I believe it's Lugana. I just can never remember which fabrics are which. 32 count evenweave Opalescent. This black work is finished and the blue curtain is finished, but there is still that gold detail on the back stitch and the curtains there that need to be done all throughout. But all of this back stitch calls for DMC 310, but I swapped it out for Petite Treasure Braid SP04, I believe, which is the black metallic. Just to add that extra bling. Yeah. So the inside of this needs to be finished. This has a bunch of topiaries, and then this corner will be complete. I still have to do the big crown over here, and then it's one more pair of crowns and the other corner. I believe it's the red. Yeah, the red curtains. So, again, warning you, if you're doing the Royal Tudor Mandala, this part here in the chart looks wonky. It's like an overlap. So you have to be careful to stitch the right part of it and not all of it. Royal Tudor Mandala by Chatelaine started in May 2018. New Year, New Start 2019 was Hatter by Gecko Rouge. I just have to adjust this a little bit so that you can see the full picture. Well, you know, as much as I have stitched. Because it's just rolled up just that much too far. So let's see if we can get a side by side. You know what, maybe a top and bottom. So this one hasn't had a lot of love this year either, and that's really, really too bad. But I'm, you know, working my way across and stitching up, trying to finish off the pages that are left and start into the next row. This is a kit by Gecko Rouge, and I'm just using all the kit supplies, but this fabric is gridded on 20 by 20 squares, so it really doesn't help me at all because, yeah, if it was over 2, if this is a pattern that was going to be stitched over 2, it would be fine, but this is stitched 2 over 1 half cross, which is my go-to method for all full coverage. And that's where it's at now. Beautitudes. Beautitudes is a large design by My Big Toe, and it's a lot of letters. There are quite a few of these, and they're all beautiful. I chose the one that spoke to me the most, and I'm stitching it on 22 count white Hardanger fabric by Zweigart, and unfortunately I will not be taking it out of the frame. So here's where it was at the last WIP Parade, and here's where we are now. This is the top. I started in the middle, and I did, it's 6 pages, 2 across and 3 down. And I did the middle 2 pages, and I came up. So this page, technically page 1, is finished. There's not much left on page 2, and then I just have page 5 and 6 to finish. So Beautitudes is a collection of, I don't think it's an actual verse in the Bible. I think it's a collection of phrases that are basically, you know, saying, blessed be the poor, you know, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That kind of thing. Blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. All of those. All in one piece. So here's where that's at as of July 2023. And that's 3 years in the making. Now, I have a lot of WIPs left over from 2021. And I believe that's the year I joined Monthly Magazine Challenge Group, so I'm going to blame them. And it's not entirely their fault because, you know, these are things that I wanted to stitch anyways, so now I had an excuse. This is Welcome. This is a design by Teresa Wensler, and it was in a magazine. And I've been wanting to stitch it ever since I got the magazine. Here is the magazine. June 1999, just cross stitch. This one has had some love this year, and it's still in a Q-snap. So let's see if we can get a side-by-side. So this year has mostly been the border and some back stitching in the border, adding another border, more back stitching. Really, it's just been this corner that has been worked on this year, as far as I can tell, as far as I can remember. It's strange when you're looking at your WIPs, you remember what you were watching. So that should come out more often, but you know how it goes. Okay. Lettres. This is my sexy sampler. Les belles lettres de Gigi. T. And you can barely make out the pattern. This one is not in a Q-snap, not ironed, and oh, that actually had a needle on it. Here's where it's at. So this one is also 6 pages, but it's 3 across and 2 down. And the top 3 pages are finished. And basically all it is just a bunch of motifs and fancy fonts of T's, all different kinds, and an alphabet. So I would like to get working on this again, but we say that for everything, don't we? Everything needs some love at one point. When will it happen? Not 100% sure. When I put things away, I'm trying to make sure that my fabric is not rubbing it against the photocopied paper, because it will rub off. The toner will rub off onto anything. It will even stick to the vinyl in the bag. Perman of Copenhagen. Really making me reach. My fault for having them put up high. This is a kit that my son bought me because it was on my wish list. And I started it in February of 2021. And this is what it looks like. Battery issues. Okay, so Permanent of Copenhagen, kit fabric, kit thread, and probably not a whole lot. Well, here's where we're at. I'll do a top and bottom screenshot, I guess. So I started in the middle and I worked my way this way, and these bits over here are the newest. But might not be, it should have changed since the WIP Parade, the previous WIP Parade. Zipper. I probably didn't include a picture of Hatter, but I'll try to insert that. I'll try to remember to insert that. All of these bags that you've seen so far are ones that I've made. So far. That's the wrong one. Believe it or not, folks, I appear to have lost Cassiopeia. Okay, well, I will have to show her at another time. Oh, you know what? Oh my God. Found it. Cassiopeia. Blank cover. Ah, that's my life today. Alright. Mirabilia, Cassiopeia. I started in, I believe it was another May start, but the year 2021. And I don't think I've worked on this since my last WIP Parade, so the side-by-sides should be pretty much identical. And I'm stitching this on 32 count Dawn, D-A-W-N, Belfast linen by Picture This Plus. And now, the one in this bag, Queen Mariposa by Mirabilia. And she is on a scroll frame. And I just about flashed you the chart. And this one I thought I had worked on in May. Apparently I did not do a whole lot. feel like I did. I'm starting to get clouded over here, but so we are filling in some of the middle now and coming out this way and this way. I'm sure that this is finished and all of those blank spots are beads. Because she's a very blingy lady. So side by side. You probably won't see much difference in the middle just because it's really hard to see any stitching in the middle just because of the fabric color, but I'm okay with it. These two patterns remind me of my two sisters. My youngest sister is very much into zodiacs and those kinds of things, so Cassiopeia for her, and my other sister is into butterflies. Or was into butterflies. I mean, she still likes butterflies, but it's not as big of a thing now as it had been. Another Mirabilia. It's really coming down out there. This is Adia, the garden fairy. This is being stitched on 32 count. Oh, here it is. Huntress. Huntress by Picture This Plus. Let's lay down. And I don't think that there's been any progress since the January WIP Parade. She really pops on this. And this is actually the same color combination, the yellows and golds on Huntress, as Alyssa is doing her pandemic on. It just, I don't know who did it first. I didn't do it because I saw hers, but it's just a great idea. It's just a great combination. We both came up with it. Can you hear the rain? We really needed it. This next one is Poppy. I call her Poppy. It's a kit by Bervico. Look at those reds. I started it in July last year. It says 2021. Has it been that long? And I started it on the kit fabric, the 14 count Ada. And I got that far. And I'm just not loving the work on the Ada. So I swapped it out for 32 count. I believe it's 32 count. Oh, words are escaping me. Okay, now I remember. 32 count platinum linen. And here's where it's at. Once again, this one, no change since the WIP Parade. But I really want to work on it. It's so pretty. And yeah, it should be in the poppy bag. But right now, it's in an Alice bag. Okay. I really want to work on that one some more. I might pull it out in August. If I get Dressmaker's Daughter done, then I might switch out to that one. We'll see. That would be in this bag, I believe. This is another one that I started, and it's barely had any progress. And I will have to insert a picture of what it should look like, but this is Rose Quaker by German designers Stickadine von something. And this is stitched on Nessie, 32 count by Picture This Plus. And that's as far as I got. And if I remember right, this one is in the wrong place. I think it has to be ripped out. I'm stitching this 1/2. Usually I stitch 2/2, but some things I will go with 1/2. This is one of those exceptions. This one is 1/2. And I'm using my own conversion to, I was hoping to use only Victoria Motto threads, but I didn't have all the shades that I needed, so there's also Gentle Arts. I've only gotten 3 motifs in, and I'm already changing it. Okay, now this one is a stitch along with Kim from Stitch and Stuff, and she gifted me this bag, which is perfect, by Sarina Stitching. And this is Simplicity Vintage by Dimensions. And we both swapped out the fabric, and I think that we're both using Monaco. Mine's a 28 count off-white, antique white Monaco. And I believe I've worked on this since my last video, and that was just to put in a little bit of stitching in the arms. And I was starting to do up here. Yeah. So side by side. Keeping it in the Q-snap because it's good. It's at a good spot. This was started in May of 2022 as Mother's Day start. I think I only started 4 things, like 1 a week. That time. Now, Inner Depths. This is another full coverage design. This one is by Chris Ortega, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is what it will look like when it's finished. And we'll do a top and bottom before and after. And here's where we're at now. I did work on it just recently, and I've come in here and filled in a little tiny bit over here, and I've also filled in up to row 30 all the way across. There was some stitching in here that had not reached row 30, so everything is done up to row 30. And now we're back over here and starting to fill in up to row 40. So I do that working my way across. Sometimes I just need to get numbers in so that I can rotate it out, because originally I was stitching on this 1,000 stitches on this and then switch it out to a stitching shelf. Recently I've put more stitches into a stitching shelf than I have on this. This hasn't been stitched on in probably a month, so now I need to do some catch up. So what you might see happening is me just focusing on this section here, because it's a lot of the same colors. So I might just do a big section over here just to get some numbers in to catch up. I think I'm going to try to get 1,500 into this and then switch it out to a stitching shelf. No big goals for that, but I don't want it to be just thrown to the wayside. And I kind of feel that way about Hatter too. Maybe I should do a 3 project rotation. So that brings us to a stitching shelf. By Heaven and Earth Designs. This was started on August 12th, 2022 for World Cross Stitch Day. I was originally just working on the top shelf and just working on my way across. What? No. Working my way across. I started in the middle and okay. So she was being annoying, so I took her to the other room, so she walked over here, and she's now outside my door again. She's been outside. She's just being, I don't know. I mean, she's achy, so I don't blame her, but yeah. Anyways, I started on the top shelf in the center, and I worked back and, on the sides. And then I decided it was time to move on to the next season shelf. Not stitching them in the season because I just don't do that. So spring is up here, this is summer, this is fall. I did work on summer in the season of spring, and then when it turned to summer, I moved down to fall. And here's where we are now. And I'm basically just taking like a section and filling it in and expanding upon that thread as far as it will go. And so right now I'm filling in from this corner here into this direction, because this is the next scene here. So yeah, stitching this along with Kim from Stitch and Stuff and Carolyn Zook from Seasook Stitches, and a bunch of other people on Facebook. Pageant Kings is my next WIP. This is from a magazine that I've had for a long time, and really wanted to stitch it. It is a beautiful design. It is by Sandy Orton, I believe, and you can find her designs on Cooler Design Studio. Yep. And this is what the finished design will look like. It is beautiful. It is ornate, it is blingy, it is all the things that checks all the boxes for me. Kreinik threads, blends, metallic filament, all that stuff. I'm stitching this on 32 count did not write it down. I want to say Twilight Blue linen by Zweigart, although it might not be Twilight Blue. Originally this fabric was in my stash for a Lavender and Lace Angel, which called for Twilight Blue, but I was given a different color instead, and I was not happy that it wasn't Twilight Blue, because I was, yeah, stitching everything according to what the chart said. But here's where we're at. And I started this because of Monthly Magazine Challenge Group, because this is in a magazine. So I was trying to do anything from a magazine for the theme. But that's where we're at. And there is a lot of detail in all of that backstitching. So before and after. And that's it for all the projects brought over from 2022. Now, there are a couple new starts in 2023. Can I find them? If somebody can tell me what project bag I put that in, that would be great. Okay, found it. Sorry. Found it. So this is Camberley Sampler by Rosewood Manor. Carolyn Zook and Robin from Bird's Eye Stitches showed this on their haul video, and I just had to jump in, and we're doing a stitch along, but you know how those go. Sometimes it's a start along. And I'm stitching mine on 32 count Edinburgh linen. I started in the center because that's what I do. I like a center start. I don't like starting on the edge because I find if it's going to be off center, really bugs me. It's OCD. So I started in the center, and I'm stitching this with one strand over two, and this is just DMCs. That's where I'm at. Again, another one that I would like to pick up and work on much more, but no plans for the immediate future. Yeah. Now this next one is one that's going to be a restart. And I showed it in my last video, and I'm going to look at this list of threads again and see what the heck happened. How can it be so far off when the threads look like they should match the picture, which is behind you. This is HL's Moth. And I'm stitching it with the conversion that was sent to me, kitted up with threads. I want it in a draw. And here's where it's at. It doesn't look anything like the picture. I do have more of that fabric, so that will be a restart. This one is one that is supposed to be my lunchtime project. You haven't seen it for a while because I barely worked on it. And I think this one is one that I just want to get it finished. It is very close to being finished. Shepherd's Bush pictures do not do it justice. So that is Amaranth by Shepherd's Bush. I got this off of a stash unload. And I'm stitching it in the called for DMCs. And I'm just at, there's some cross stitch down here, and then there's a pulled thread border above that. So this is the pulled thread, and there's the cross stitch. That's all that's left for that. So I really should just get on it. And the last project, a new start. This is something that I just started yesterday. I am stitching this as my birthday sal, and I actually do have what it looks like. but it's a black and white printout. So Queen of Hearts by Owl Forest Embroidery. I was not quick enough to get a kit, and I really wanted it, so I went onto Owl Forest and I got the digital version, and I bought the threads. I got the thread pack and I got some needle minders, and this is where I'm at. This is stitched on 32 count, nope, 28 count mallow by Picture This Plus. The only thing that I'm a little bit regretting, I guess, is after I did a bunch of the red, I turned it over and realized this side might be a little bit darker. But I'm not going to unpick all of that. There's white there and there. But otherwise it's a soft yellow, which I had originally bought for Alessandra Adelaide's bee, but it wasn't big enough for that, so it is definitely big enough for this. I triple checked. It should be 7 by 13, and this piece is much bigger than 7 by 13. So this is an 11 by 11 Q-snap. So that's all my WIPs. That's it. So if you made it this far, thank you for sticking around. Hopefully the dog noises will be edited out. And if you want to see a Bin of Shame parade, let me know. I'm home for 2 weeks, so I just might be able to pull that off. And yeah. So until next time, happy stitching, take care of yourself, take care of each other, one stitch at a time. Bye.